We have President Donald J. Trump, former President Donald J. Trump here. Yeah, wow. Newsmax is looking to get Tucker. Tucker is the man. He's been the man. Okay, so this one is coming from Newsmax. Let's take a listen to this. This is what Mr. Trump says, and let's see, because, Trump says a lot of things, right? Some things are true, some things a little bit too much, some things we're not sure about. But here's the thing. He says, if you put me back in the White House, America will be free. Wow, that's a mouthful. So let's see where this one goes.
We'd be rough, politically rough, but we would never like this, because I would never have said this, even though it's true. But I don't think I could have said it before. But now it's very easy to say Biden is the most corrupt president in the history of our country by far. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it to be a great badge of honor and courage. I'm doing it for you.
Yep. Biden is very corrupt. Like, people who don't know that is because they're not paying attention. When from the business deals to the things with his son, crack cocaine was found in the White House. We still don't know who it is, and the investigation is closed. Okay, they can't trace it back. I'm like, wow, they can't trace who had crack cocaine in the White House. Like a person with a key, maybe someone who's a drug addict, maybe someone who's frequently there, who's not always being done background check up on and everything. I'm just saying, it's not hard to tell who that person could be. We should be able to narrow it down pretty simple, but these guys don't know anything. But Biden is corrupt, and that's a fact. And a lot of the stuff that's going on here is exactly what Trump is saying.
Consider it to be a great badge of honor and courage.
True. I said this to a friend last night. I was saying, listen, I'm not gonna pause as often as I am now, but I'm just saying, the more you persecute Trump, the stronger he becomes, the more powerful he becomes. He was being able to raise $32 million. $32 million doing his indictment. And the one person who was a Democrat that was talking to me, and I was like, well, yeah, the Democrats keep going after him. They keep going after him, right? The more you go after him, you turn him into a monster. You turn him into a martyr. You turn him into a Jesus, in a sense. And people are going to sympathize with him. His fan base is going to get stronger. I sympathize with him because of what they're doing, right? I wish they didn't do as much. But the fact they're doing that, it makes me wonder, like, yo, man, you can't keep doing that, man. Like, you can't keep kicking a man like that. So that's how I was able to kind of like begin to wonder, like, maybe Trump is innocent. Maybe you are the one who's guilty.
I'm doing it for you. I'm being indicted for you. Better me than you, right?
Better me than you.
Hey, I'd rather have it. We love our president. Let them indict him. We don't want to be indicted. And I believe the U is more than 200 million people that love our country, far more than 200 million. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, as we've been persecuted for 7 years, because this didn't just start with the boxes. I call it the boxes hoax. It's a hoax. But this didn't start with boxes. This started 7 years ago when we came down the escalator. Your great First Lady, future First Lady.
That's right.
At the time. And despite having done nothing wrong, the White House just announced they've dropped the investigation into the West Wing cocaine scandal of just a few days. Think of it. They have cocaine going into the White House. They've got more cameras than any building probably in the world. It's opposite the Situation Room. I said it the other day, first time, Situation Room, know it very well. Probably the most important room anywhere in the world. That's where war is decided, where nuclear is decided, where everything is decided. Mm-hmm. They say, oh, gee, we didn't have any cameras. Like hell, they didn't. By the way, at Mar-a-Lago, which is not the Situation Room, we had tapes, and we handed over all our tapes, gladly handed them over. Take a look. Mm-hmm. And then they say, oh, there's somebody walking around with a box. Well, he's allowed to do that. But think of this. We had tapes, and we handed them over. Well, they said they don't have tapes. They don't happen to have it. Mm-hmm. This investigation, and that's a big deal, the cocaine. The cocaine by itself is a big deal, but it could have been other things. It could have been a dangerous weapon, so to speak, a bioweapon.
Yeah.
But
that does make you question the level of security going on in the White House. For somebody to be able to bring cocaine in the White House and yet you can't find out who that individual is like, so the security is bad then. That's not a good level of security. And if, let's just say there's no camera in that particular spot where the cocaine was found, maybe the individual who brought the cocaine knew very well the layout of the White House and actually even knew where cameras will be and where the cameras will not be. That's where they were able to bring the cocaine and put it in that particular spot. So this had to be somebody who either works there or somebody who visits very often, somebody who has access to a lot of different things. And I will also say that for somebody to have the audacity to bring cocaine to the White House, you got to be a drug addict. You got to be a drug addict. The common person who is either having a drug issue or somebody who does that type of drug, that's not how they do it. This is not a visitor. This is not a common person who was invited once in the White House. They will not dare to go there. Let's just be honest. That's the outliners. This will never happen. Okay. But a person who did this feels comfortable, is an often visitor, who's a drug addict. It's an individual who knows the layout. It's an individual who feels that he can get away with this stuff. That's the kind of person who will have done that. Who could that individual be?
They ended it in just literally a few days. Now, I've been under investigation from really 2015, from the day I announced. Mm-hmm. From the day I came down the escalator, and actually when you think about it, from before that, because there was a poll that was taken where I was leading before. They said if he ever runs, he's going to win. And, people did tend to know me. That's when I had a nice, easy life.
Yep.
What I do for you, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I had such an easy life. I had such a good life.
It's not lying.
I had a great life.
It's not lying. I had an ant on me.
But I'm very glad I did it. Somebody asked me the other day, with all we've been through, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But somebody, very, very successful person, man who's one of the most successful people, said, I don't know how you take it. I said, do I have a choice? Because these are scoundrels. He said, no, I don't know how. Could I ask you a question, President Ron? If you had it to do again, would you do it? Because I did have a great life.
Yeah.
If you had it to do again, would you do it? I said, without even a question, because we did something that nobody else could have ever done. What we did during that period of time was incredible. And more importantly, now we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it even better. So it's never even a doubt.
I have to agree with him, but I think he's gotten so much smarter over the years. He's learned who to trust, who not to trust. He's learned to speak better. I mean, he's got his sarcasm. He's got his hyperbole. He's got his way. I mean, that's Trump. You're not going to get rid of that. That's personality. But I've seen him grown, though, as a politician a lot. I think the level of wisdom he kind of now has. Before, I think he was a little bit rambunctious to a degree. There was a lot of stuff he did that I didn't agree the way he went about them. But to say his presidency wasn't good, that will make me a liar. His presidency was 100 times better than Mr. Biden, and that's true. I think he could do better now. I really believe that because he's grown so much.
Not even a little doubt in my mind. And I have to say, because with all the fake news back there, if I said, oh, gee, I think there would be headlines, he wished he didn't do it. No. I'm very glad I did it. And more importantly, what's coming up is going to be greater than ever before. I promise you that.
Yep.
But never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the only ones, and that's all of you and me, all working together. Who can stop them? We're the only ones that can stop them. Mm-hmm. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple.
Yep.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way.
That's his statement right there.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I was starting to say a little while ago that if I were, instead of leading by 30, 40, or 50 points or whatever, a lot, if I were, I noticed Megan, I saw her a little while coming in, it's on the television, and I was watching, she was great, and she said, you can't beat him, he's got like a 40 or 50 point lead. But, you know, if I didn't have a 50, let's say I was losing, or let's say I wasn't running, none of this stuff would be happening.
True.
None of it would. If I were...
Yeah, if you would just go away and all this stuff will be dropped, and it wouldn't be so much of an issue. Like Donald Trump to the deep state, to these supposed moneyed men, these left, I guess what you should call them, elitist, right? Self-elected elitist. He is a threat because he goes after them, and that's a problem. You know what happened to the president in Haiti? Sometimes I wonder if that could happen to Mr. Trump. The president in Haiti began to go after the people who were destroying Haiti. What happened to him? Do you remember his name? Jovenel Moise. All right. So in America, I don't think that could happen, but I'm just saying, well, it did happen with JFK. So let me slow down with that thinking pattern here. It could happen again. I mean, the way Trump is winning right now, it seems like they're going to try to threaten his life as much as possible. If they can't stop him, they're eventually going to try. And I hate to say this, there's going to be a price on his head. There's going to be a serious price on his head. Now, I think if that happens, that will definitely destroy the whole entire voting system. That will make some people seriously angry. And I think some people will end up behind bars. And I think there will be some serious consequences they're not willing to deal with. So the goal now is to smear, is to make him look as bad as they could. And the media is the mouthpiece to do that. Their job is to make Trump look bad, even on, CNN. Trump. Everything Trump is bad kind of thing. And I'm like, well, that is good for your rating. The more you talk about his name, people will watch your video. But that's also making him better, though, because if you smear him as much as you can, some people will hate Trump no matter what you tell them. But some people will love Trump no matter what you tell them. It's like you have to let evidence play out in this case and allow the people to make their own decisions and stop trying to play with people's, conscience here. But that's what they're doing, though. But unfortunately, it's not going to work. Like, their only way to stop Trump, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm telling you, is to cancel him. That's the only way they're going to stop him. He has to, either Trump just can't run or something happened to him health-wise, or you're not going to turn the people against him. He's got too strong of a fan base. Forget it. And I think if they will learn how to work with Trump, they will become his friends and trying to see how they can actually help him to see things from their perspective. That would have been better. But at this stage, he's unstoppable. Only God will stop him, or something could happen. The tragic could happen. That's the only way I see it. And that's my perspective on that.
If I were down by 20 instead of up by 50, maybe I'd have to be down by 30 or 40. But if I were down in the polls, or if I wasn't running, if I didn't do this, I would not have any of this stuff. They've mobilized the AGs and the DAs, and they actually, in the New York DA, they actually took their top man out of DOJ, and they put their top man. Do you know this, Byron? Byron's such an incredible guy, by the way. He made a good speech, too. He made a good speech. He's got a big future. All of those three that I introduced have an incredible future. But what they did is something that you just can't do. What they're doing is something that is just not permissible. And people were shocked. Even the fake news was very surprised. I promise you this, that if you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over and America will be a free nation once again. It'll be free.
It's possible. Now, I don't know fully if that could be accomplished. I know he's speaking, hyperbole is over exaggerating somewhat, but I do believe Trump back in the White House, there could be a lot of positive changes. Now, the people who don't follow politics might not understand what's going on. Like, this is a war between American values and also these institutions, right? These moneyed men, these rich men who are looking for ways to influence politics, like the George Soros and the Black Rocks. This is what American are fighting against. We're fighting against people that are not so much for the system, but they're looking for ways to control the system. They have a very Marxist view, the globalists and everything, those climate change individuals. That's kind of who we're fighting up against in a sense. But we know ultimately as Christian, we're fighting against not human beings, but flesh and blood. But I'm talking about like in principality and stuff and so on like that. In principle, we're fighting against these systems. But Trump is a problem to that system because he stands in their way. He will shut them down. And he has the ability to do it because he's not bought or sold. So because he's got the money. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need a paycheck from them. So he cannot be controlled. That's why he's a threat. That's what you need to see. Once you actually can see that, then you will understand the perspective of what he's talking about. Then things make sense. Then you don't have this, Trump derangement syndrome like so many of them are. It's just hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump because we were told to hate him. But until you do a little bit of research, you find out, this man was up to something good. He knew what he was talking about.
I ran twice. I won twice. I did much better the second time than I did the first. It's true.
It's true.
Getting millions and millions and millions more votes the second time than I did in 2016, and likewise getting more votes than any president in the history, sitting president in the history of our country by far. And, I also had the biggest margin. Usually when, like Obama, he ran, he got much fewer votes, many fewer votes the second time. When he was reelected, he got much less than he did the first time. Most presidents are like that. You know why? Because people get bored.
Yeah.
They get bored with their president. You're never going to get bored with me, I promise you.
It's funny, yo.
So
He's good.
That'd be very insulting. But from a voting standpoint, no president has ever gone up that much. I went from 63 million. We got 63 and we won.
Powerful. I'll say this, man. Much more could be said about this, but I want to keep it simple. Pray for this country. Pray for those in power, because some of us, we like to be like apolitical. No. Like, as a Christian, I found out you can't be apolitical, because what politicians do impacts you, impacts the church, it even impacts your home, it impacts your wallet. It's not something you can just stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away. It doesn't work like that. But at the same time, I believe there's a lot of wicked politicians in office that, by all means, they don't even deserve my respect and my vote. But at the same time, there are a lot of good ones. I think Trump is one of the good ones. I'm telling you, Trump is one of the good ones. It took me a while to realize this, but as I began to do my research and study and listen carefully, not to what the media is saying, I do my own research, listen to independent media, read the articles, listen to some of his speech, and I realized a lot of the things that they were saying about Trump is not true. Like, once you come out of that and you're able to see people for being real, and you understand the value of what the man was fighting for, then you get it. But you also have to notice who the enemies are. Once you notice who his enemies are, and you realize his enemies are actually your enemies, so therefore, even if Trump was an enemy of yours, therefore the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So therefore, Trump could be a force for good, because he is fighting against the very people that are against you. So therefore, he deserves some respect. He deserves your prayer. He deserves support. Does that mean he is the solution to all of our problems? Absolutely not. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by him. So Christ is my solution. Christ is the one in whom I trust and believe. But at the same time, God used a Moses, right? At the same time, God used Solomon, King David. So God can use Trump in the same way. Even in Proverbs 21, God says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Has the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. In Daniel chapter 2, he speaks about how he sets up kings and he removes kings and he sets up kings. And the point is, God is saying, I set things in order for them to work out according to my divine will. Ultimately, he gets the glory. But however, we do have a part to play in interacting within the will of God. So that is something that needs to be done. That's why voting is important. Talking about something is important. Supporting what you believe and knowing the values and what the reason why you believe them, all significant. So that's why I love Trump. I end up loving Trump by actually listening to what Trump is saying and compare it with the facts and realize he was more right than he was wrong. Some people could disagree with me. I've heard in the comment that somebody said, "Oh, man, you're a pastor and you're a Christian and you believe Donald Trump. You believe Donald." I believe in Jesus, but I believe Donald Trump was a good president. I wish I had seen it earlier. And being a Christian doesn't mean you can't support Trump. It's almost like being a Christian mean supporting Trump is evil. It's almost like, you serious? Like, we have people that are Christians who are supporting Democratic Party policies that are very unchristians. Like, abortion is unchristians, and some of you are still Democrats. There's a lot of stuff Democrats believe, cutting the genitals of children, And some people believe that they're Christians and they vote for that. It's like people vote for the stuff that they want to vote for. It's not the same way as you might think. Some people don't do it because of values and understanding on Christian perspective. Some of them do it because it's just an emotional high. Some of them do it because it's just culturally appropriate. Some of them are doing it for different purposes. I'm doing it because of my conviction. That is completely different. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening. I don't want to give you a verse today. I'm going to leave you alone. Enough of that being said. I think Trump is up to something good. I really think so. And I'm telling you, I'm praying for men like him. I'm praying for many others. I really like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think Vivek Ramaswamy with Trump as, Vivek as vice president of Mr. Donald Trump, that will be a good look. He seems to have what Trump is missing, and you can balance those two together. Powerful, powerful, powerful. That's our hope. That's our prayer. I don't know for certain. Let me know what you think in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.